What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today, as you can see, we are going to create a blog using React, and we're going to manage the content with Sanity. So if you don't know Sanity, you can just go to sanity.io and you can get information about it. Basically, it's going to manage all the content, everything that you're creating. You just need to create your React application, just set it up with the Sanity, and you're going to create the content on Sanity platform, and I'm going to show you very shortly how you're going to do it. So basically, we're going to have something like we're going to create a front end with, we will have a list of all the blog posts that we have, and inside that, if we click on these, as you can see that I have two blogs. So if I click on one of these, you can see that this is my first blog and everything is like this. So basically that's what we're going to create. So this is the UI, as you can see. And in case of Sanity, you just need to go to sanity.io, and what you need to do is you need to get started, create an account, and then you can proceed with what we're going to do. Basically, as I already have my account, so if I click on login, so it has already been logged into my account, and you can see that I have my application. So in this case, as you can see, that the first blog and second blog post that I have created, that means I have two blogs. If you see, this is the Sanity server, which I'm going to show you how you're going to open this up. And as I have just registered to sanity.io in this website with my GitHub account, so I need to log in with my GitHub. So if I click on this, this is going to let me in. So as you can see, if I make it a little bit bigger, this is the Sanity dashboard. It looks something like this. You can create author. I have already created my author here. That means my name, I am the author. You can create categories, different sort of categories for organizing the documents. But if you don't create, that's still okay. So in this case, we're going to just focus on creating an author. You can just create an author with this. If you click on this button, and then you can add the name. The slug means the URL by which you're going to fetch or get the data of that author. Then any image of the author, that means something like this will show up, and some bio data or some or a bio of that author. So this is one thing that you can create. And the main thing that we are going to do is this thing, post. As you can see that I have two posts. So it's if you're going to click on this, that means a new post is going to be created. So you can fill up these forms, but I'm not going to show it right now. I'll show it while we're coding and after that. So if I show you what basically are the content within these fields, so I'm going to click on one of the already created posts. So you can see that it has a title, it has a slug. That means this is the URL by which we can fetch this post. And if I show this, if you see that first blog post, so if I go to the React application and this is the first blog post, if I go to this, you can see first blog post. So basically this is the slug and the author is me. That's why it shows here. Just ignore the background image. I'm going to change it anyway, but this is just for a demonstration purpose. But I think you understand what I want to say. So this is the thing that we are going to create. And you can also, if you see, you can also add images within the body of the blog that you're going to create. So basically that's what we are going to do. Let's get started with the video. But before we start, I want to ask you, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you're going to be notified immediately. So let's get started. If you can see, we have a terminal open, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a React application. So what we will do is at first npx create React app, and then you can name the app whatever you want. So in our case, I'm going to name it React Sanity Blog app. So this will be the name of my React application, and this is going to take some time. Once this is done, I'm going to come back and then we're going to proceed. All right, so as you can see that we have happy hacking. That means the application has been created. As you can see, the folder is here. So what we're going to do is we will go inside the folder and we are going to open it in VS Code. All right. So we have opened VS Code and we have the React application. So first things first, we will open up the terminal and we're going to close the previous terminal. We don't need this. Okay, so what we want to do at first is we need some of the dependencies that we want to use. So let's install them first. I'm going to take my camera off for now. I'll be back after the video. So now I have my camera taken off. What we can do right now is install the dependencies. At first, we want to install Sanity CLI globally. If you do not have this already, what you can do is npm install, or you can write npm I, then @sanity /CLI. Well, you can install this, but remember to put this to -- global. So if you do not have this already, you need to install this globally so that you can use Sanity in the command line. As I already have this, so I'm not going to install this. So what I will do directly is, at first I will be going with Sanity Login, but as I have already logged in, so I don't think I need this, but for the purpose of the video, let's go for it again. Okay. So as I said that I have opened up my sanity.io account with GitHub, so I'm just going to log in with GitHub. So I'm going to click on this, and I think you can see that the login is successful. So what I can do right now is go back to VS Code, and it says login has been successful. So I'm going to clear this thing up. Okay. So now once we have logged in with Sanity, what we want to do is create the Sanity blog. So we're going to give the command sanity init. Okay, as you can see, what we want to do is we want to create a new project. So we are going to select this create new project, and what we want to name this is React Sanity blog. So this is going to be the name of the Sanity project. Okay, so we want the default dataset configuration. So I'm going to go with the Y. As you can see that this is creating the dataset, and it has given me the project output path. So I'm just going to go with default. Now you can see that we can create, or we can select one of the project templates, as we are going to create a blog. So we are going to select the blog schema. So you see that this React Sanity blog has already been appeared here. So the Sanity application is being created at this moment. All right, so as you can see that Sanity app has been installed. So what we can do right now is, the first thing is we will start the React application. So we will go with npm start, and you're going to see the React application starting. So the React app will be starting here. So once it starts, we'll just let it go, let it run. So yeah, as you can see that the React application is running fine. So let's head back. So now as we are in VS Code, we are going to open up another terminal, and what we want to do is cd into React Sanity blog, the blog application of the Sanity application that we want to use. So we have entered there, and now we can start the Sanity server. So that is sanity start. Now once this starts, we can access the dashboard as we have seen previously at localhost 3333. Okay, so you can see that the Content Studio successfully compiled. So if we go to localhost 3333, I'm going to click on this, control click, and there you go. It's asking me to provide my user credentials to sign in. So as I said, as I've already registered with GitHub, I'm going to go with GitHub. So it has successfully helped me log in. So okay, this is a by default interface. We can create author. So as of now, in this case, we do not have any author for this project. So what we can do right now is we can create an author. So in my case, let's type with my name. This is my name, and I'm providing a slug. That's just a normal slug. And in this case, I'm going to upload an image. So if you see that I'm just going to upload this image. And in my bio, I'm just going to write, hi, this is me. Nothing fancy. I just wrote this for no reason. But okay, so I have my image, I have my bio, I have my name and the slug as well. So if I publish, now you can see that an author has been created. So if you go to the post, we do not have any posts yet, so we are going to create this, but not now. But first, let's head back to VS Code, and we are going to design the application first, connect the application with the Sanity app, and then we are going to create posts from Sanity so that you can see them from the front end. So let's get started with VS Code now. Okay, so now as we are back in VS Code, I'm just going to open up another terminal, and we need to install some of the dependencies. So for the sake of the application, we need to install some dependencies related to Sanity. And of course, I'm going to listen to this very carefully. React Router DOM has been updated, and there had been some changes, but the way I'm doing it, I'm just going to use the version 5.2.0. So if you want to follow this tutorial, you make sure to install the version 5.2.0. So at first, for the safety, let's install React Router DOM. So we can install like React Router DOM at the rate 5.2.0. We want this version to work. So this is going to install. Let's open up the package.json and let's see what dependencies we are going to have. So let's just install this first. Okay, so you can see that we have this version of the React Router DOM, so I don't think I need to worry about this anymore. Now let's install some of the other dependencies for Sanity. So what we are going to do is we're going to npm I at the rate sanity / client. This is one of the dependency that we need. Then for the blog, we need to install sanity image URL. And for organizing the body of the blog, that means the content that we are going to write for the blog, we need to install at the rate sanity / blog content to React. Well, I guess these are the things that we need. I don't think we need anything else other than this. So let these things install, and then we are going to come back after these are installed. Well, all right, as you can see that these things are already installed. So what we can do right now is we want to connect Sanity with our application. So let's close this package.json right now. We don't need this. Let's go to the source folder. And okay, one more thing that we can do is we can go to the git ignore, because if we want to push this code to GitHub, go to git ignore, and in case of the node modules, just remove this slash and save it. So in case of the Sanity, React Sanity blog, the Sanity application, the node modules is also ignored from GitHub. Otherwise, you can see that there are 10,000 files to be pushed. So that's just crazy. Okay, so we can ignore this part right now. Now, the thing is, if we want to connect Sanity, what we want to do is inside this source, we want to create a file which is called client.js. Okay, so we have our Sanity client installed. So what we want to do is we want to import Sanity client from @sanity client. Okay, so export default sanity client, and inside this we are going to have two fields. One is the project ID. We're going to come to this in a minute. And the other one is the data set. That will be production, because that is the name of the data set that has already been built while installing Sanity. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to get the project ID. So you can get the project ID from, if you go to the React Sanity blog, the Mr. Sanity thing that you have created. If you go to this, and if you go to sanity.json here, you can see that there is a project ID. So I'm going to copy my project ID from here, and inside the client.js, I'm just going to paste it here and paste it. In this way, I have created the connection with Sanity. And now, as I have exported this Sanity client, I'm going to import the Sanity client wherever I need, and then the app has been totally connected to it. So I think I can close this sanity.json off. So one more thing that I want to show is, in case this is one of the way to find the project ID, and another way is if you go to the browser and if you go to manage.sanity.io, I'm just going to refresh this page. Well, what you need to do is you need to log in. So as you can see, that React Sanity blog, this is the thing that we have created right now. And if we go inside this, you can see the project ID here. If I make it a little bit bigger, you can see this is the project ID, and I can just copy it. So I'm not going to copy it right now because I've already pasted it down in the application. So that's all right. And another thing that we can do is, if we go to the API here, you can see course origins. So you can see that the localhost 3333 has been allowed, and we want the React application to be allowed as well. So for that, we're going to add course origin, and we can paste this localhost 3000 and allow credentials and save it. So these things are allowed. So in that case, even if you see my project ID, if you try to use my project ID, it won't matter, because this, well, I haven't allowed any other places or any other origins to access the application. So this will only work in my device, and maybe if I deploy this project somewhere, then the deployed URL, I can add that URL to the course origin here as well. So we're not going to do that anyway at this point. So I think this is the part that we just wanted to do in this case. So let's get back to the project. Okay, so now as we are back at VS Code, what we will do now is we will go to the app.js, and we're going to take everything off. The logo, we don't need this, and we don't need anything inside the function app. So up till inside return, I'm going to remove everything, and I don't like to use semicolons, so I'm going to remove those as well. And I also like to use arrow functions, so I'm going to convert it to const app equals, and then the arrow function. Okay, so that's what we have right now. So now let's make some imports that we will be needing. The first import is, okay, so import React from React. This is the first import. And then we want to import browser router and route from React router DOM. Okay, so these are two of the things that we're going to import. And in here, what we want to do is we need to create browser router, and inside this we're going to have a div, and within this div element we're going to have two routes. One of the routes is, let's have all posts. That's what we're going to create right now, and the path will be the root path, and let this be exact. So this is one of the route, and we want to create another one exactly like this. So in this way, in this case, instead of all posts, this will be one post, and the path will be slug. So this is a variable. That means this is going to change according to what we are creating. So in this case, this slug here with a colon before it, it refers to something that is changeable. This is sort of a variable. So now the thing is, what we need to do is we need to import, or at first we need to create all posts and one post. So let's go to the source and create a folder called components, and inside components let's create a file at first, index.js. I'm going to come to this. This is a barrel file where I'm going to export the two components that we're going to create. One of the components is all posts.js, and the other component is one post.js. Okay, so in all posts.js, what we want to do is, let's have a template. If we write RAFCE, so we already have this template, and for now let's just take this div off and let's go with the h1, where we are going to type all posts page. We're going to come back to this, and in case of the one post, again let's go with an RAFCE, and there we have the boilerplate, and here we're going to have another h1 which says one post page. Okay, so we have the all posts, we have the one post, and we also have the index.js created. So what we want to do is export default as all posts from all posts, and we're going to have exactly the same, but instead of all posts, this will be one post. I'm going to copy this and paste it here as well. So now in the app.js, I'm going to import all posts and one post. Okay, now if I save it, okay, hopefully if we go to the React app, I'm going to close these previous ones, we don't need this. This is the app, so you can see that this is the all posts page, but at this moment we cannot go to the one posts page because it's a variable, or I should say it's a slug. But just for testing purpose, if we remove this colon and save, then let's go to localhost 3000/slug. There you go, we have the one post page. So now let's get back to VS Code and let's just bring the colon back and save. Okay. Now, as we have what we need, let's head to all posts and let's work on that at first. So in all posts, so as you can see, at first what we want to do is import some of the things that we need. In this case, we were going to have use state and use effect as well. And we're going to have link. So we're going to import link from React Router DOM. And we are also going to import the Sanity client that we have created. So sanity client from client.js. From this file, we're going to import sanity client. Okay, so now the first thing that we want is we want to have all posts data and set all posts data. This will be a use state, and initially this will be null. Okay, now we're going to have use effect, and in this case let's have the dependency array in the beginning, and this will be empty, so we don't need to worry about that. Now what we want is sanity client dot fetch. Now what we will do is we are going to have some of the data from sanity client. So in this case, just follow along. We're going to fetch. So let's go with asterisks, that means all, and for the type post, we are going to have the title, the slug, then the main image, and from the main image we want to access the asset, and from that asset we want to have the ID and the URL of the image. So these are the things that we require from sanity client. If you see, the type is post, and by this post we want to say, if we go to the sanity dashboard, this post is what we mean basically. So this is the type post, and as we have nothing created, so let's create one post because we have to display something. So by clicking on this button, this is something that we're going to create, like first block, and you can generate a slug or you can write yourself, but I'm going to generate it. So this is going to come like this, or maybe you can try something else, whatever you want. And as we have already created the author just moments back, so I'm going to select myself as the author. And here, in case of the image, what we can do now is we can select one of the images. So I'm going to select this image. So as you can see that this is being loaded, and I think this is complete. Okay, so we have our main image. In case of the publish date, we can choose maybe set to current time, and we can ignore the categories right now because we do not need to focus on that. But if you want, you can create a category and then you can have them here as well. So in case of the body, we need to click to activate first, and we can write, this is a test, this is the first blog post. Okay, so we can publish it. So this is the first blog post, and maybe we can create another one which might be called second blog. So second blog, and we can generate the slug as well. The author, that can be me, and in case of the image, I'm going to upload another image. So I'm looking into one of the images. Maybe we can go with this image. Okay, so once this is uploaded, we can set the date for publish to the current time and date, and we can write, this is the second blog post. And one more thing that we want to try is we want to add an image. So what we can do is we can click on this insert image, and you can see that we can upload our image here. So if I click on this, if I double click on that, so it allows me to upload an image. So I'm going to upload this image, and I guess once this is done, I'm going to publish it. So let's wait for a moment for this image to be uploaded. All right, so it seems that it's complete. We have our image, so we can publish. So you can see that this is the second blog post and we have an image as well. Why I uploaded or inserted an image, you're going to find it out real soon. So let's head back to VS Code now. Okay, so now as we are in the all posts page, so we're going to display two of the posts. So in that case, let's get to work with the sanity client.fetch. We will have everything that we want to fetch here, and with this we want to have them. That means the data that we are going to have. In that case, we're going to set all posts data to the data that we have obtained, or otherwise we can catch. I'm going to put this catch in the next line, and in the catch block we can have error console.error. Okay, that's what we can have. All right, now we are going to use Tailwind CSS for the styling. So I already have some of these things copied. So if you want to copy these things or some of the URLs that we need for the Tailwind CSS or for importing Tailwind CSS, you can find the source code, that means this project code, down in the description below, from where you can find the file. So as I already have these things, so I'm just going to copy these things and I will paste this to index.css. Just above body, I'm going to paste all of these. Okay, I'm going to save this, and then let's head back to allposts.js. Okay, so in case of the allposts.js, we are going to work through this here. Let's get started. Let's have a div first with a class name, and we want some of the CSS as the background to be green and the opacity should be on 100. Then min age screen, and padding is 12 that we want. Okay, then inside this div, let's have another div with a class name of, this will be the container, and we want to have mx auto. Okay, okay, so inside this div again, now let's have a h2, and inside this we want to have a class name with a first, the text to be quite large, so 5xl. Then we want this as flex, and the content should be, justify content should be the in center, and inside this we want to write blog posts. Okay, then let's have an h3, and inside that we can have a class name, and with that the text can be large, then the color of the text can be gray, 600. We can have flex and justify center, and then we can also have MB12. Here we can write welcome to my blog. Okay, now after this we can have another div with the class name will be grid, because we want everything to be in a grid, all the posts to be in a grid. So this will be medium grid calls 2. For medium screens, the number of columns will be 2, and for the large screens, so LG grid equals 3. For larger screens, we want to have 3 contents in each column, or in each row. So there will be 3 columns, and there will be a gap of 8. Okay. Next, what we want to do is we want to access the all posts data that we have set. That means we have already fetched the data from the Sanity client, and this is set to all posts data to here. So what we are going to do is we are going to access this. So in that case, all post data and all post data dot map, and inside map what we can have is post and index. So I think I'm going to put this inside another okay, and yeah, that's what we can have. And with this we can have an arrow function, and we don't need to return anything, so instead of curly braces we can use the simple brackets. So inside that we can link this to, this will be root class post dot plug dot current. That means the current state, and in case of the key we can have post dot slug dot current. Okay, so I think we want to use the capital link, not this one. Okay, so make sure, because sometimes VS Code autocorrects this to smaller, the L with the small letter for link. So make sure this is the capital link. That means the link that has been imported from the React router DOM. So we will have this, and we can close this. Now, inside this, let's have a span of, the class name will be, first let's have BG, background will be white. We will have this as a block. The height will be 64. Then this will be relative. Then we will have this rounded shadow leading snug. Then we will have border large 8. Then we will have border green, and the opacity to be 400. Okay, and we can also put the key to be index. Okay, now within this span, as you can see, this span, we can go inside this, and here we're going to create the image class name. So in case of class name, let's have it as a self-closing tag at first. Okay, for the class name, we want the width to be full, we want the height to be full, we want this rounded R, we want the object cover and absolute. Okay, so this is one the class, and in case of the source, we want to have post dot main image dot asset dot URL. So as you might know that we are mapping through all the data that we have obtained. So the post is the iterator, and as it is iterating through the data that we have obtained, or through the objects that we have obtained, you can see that it goes to main image dot asset dot URL. So how did we get this? If you see that we are accessing main image here, and inside the main image we are accessing asset, and inside the asset we are accessing the URL. So this is how we are going to get the image. And after this, we can have an alt text, but let's just ignore it for now. We we can have another span here, and this span goes with a class name with block relative content. No, relative height will be full. This is flex. Justify should be end. Items end. Padding right is 4. Padding bottom is 4. Okay, so inside this span, we're going to have an h2 tag, and inside the h2 tag, we'll go with the class name. Let's have the text as gray with the opacity of 800. Then let the text be large. The font will be bold. We have padding to the x-axis with 3 and to the y-axis to 4. The background is red with 700 opacity. The text is red with 100 opacity. Background opacity is 75. This is rounded. Okay. Now, inside this, what we want to do is we want to have the post title, post.title. So as we are already importing the title here, let's copy this, and we are iterating through the objects. So the iterator first, post.title. In this way, we are going to get the title, and we're also going to get the image. So basically, I think we are quite done with the all posts. So let's save it and let's see what we got. Okay, so let's go to the React app and let's just go to the root. So there you go. You can see that I have the blog posts, I have welcome to my blog, and these are the 2 blogs that we have created here. Okay, so now what we want to do is we are going to create one post so that when these are clicked, we can be redirected to the one post page or the posts, individual posts that we have created. So let's head back to VS Code. Okay, so now if we go to the one post, let's start with some of the imports. So in this case, we're going to use useState and useEffect as well. Okay. Then we are going to use useParams, and this is imported from React Router DOM. So let's have this. Now let's import Sanity client. I'm sorry about this. Let's import Sanity client from client. Okay. Then let's have the image URL builder. And this is going to be imported from sanity/image URL. Okay, so that's why we have installed the image URL from Sanity, and you're going to see how we are going to have these URLs for the source. Basically, you know, when we are having any image tag, we have the source from where we are fetching the image or where we are displaying the image. So this is going to help us in this aspect. So you're going to see how, and after this we are going to import block content, and this is from Sanity block content to React. Okay, this is not context, this is content. Okay, so basically we are going to have this block content for organizing the everything inside the body of the application or of the blog post. Okay, so these are the imports. Now let's have const builder will be image URL builder, and inside that we are going to have our sanity client, and with that const URL4, let's provide the source, and with that we are going to have the arrow function where we're going to return builder.image source. So when we are in the source, I'm going to show this to you. When we are in the source, we will be passing this to the URL4, and we will obtain our image with the help of this. Okay, now let's proceed to one post. Okay, so first we want to have post data, and set post data, and likewise this will be a null use state initially, and we want to have const, we want to have slug, which we are having from the use parents. So basically the slug that we have declared in app.js, as you can see that this is a variable. So basically this is going to define the slug, or the slug that is the URLs by which, or the path by which we're going to fetch or access to each of the individual posts. So that's why we're using this slug. All right. So now the next thing is we're going to have use effect, and let's have the dependency array at first. So inside this, let's go with sanity client, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so sanity client.fetch. Once again, we are going to do the things like we have done before. So all, that means asterisk, we want to have slug.current. This is going to recognize the post with the slug that we have already provided, and for this we're going to need the title. We will have the slug. We are going to have the main image, and from the main image we will have asset. From the asset we're going to have the ID, the URL. Okay, then we want the body, and we're going to sort of typecast. So by name we can have the author's name, so we will have the author's name with the term name, and with author image we're going to have the image of the author. So basically that's what we have. I think I made a little bit of mistake. I'm just going to take these things off from here, and I'm going to put this down here. I think this looks about right. Okay, so after this, let's have the slug. Let's fetch the slug from the sanity client. So basically this is the slug, and in case of what we have, let's go with it. Then we are going to have data. Let this be an arrow function where we are going to set post data to the data that we have obtained. Otherwise we can have catch error will be console.error. Okay, that's what we can have. And in case of the dependency array, we do need to be dependent on the slug. So we're going to copy this slug and paste this on the dependency array, inside the dependency array. Okay, so now What we can do is, like, in case of the time when we are fetching the data, we can have a loading, or maybe if there is no data, then maybe we can display the term loading. So for this, we can have a check like this. If there is no post data, then return a div with loading. Okay, that's what we can have. Otherwise, we can straight away go to return. Okay, so now in case of return, let's remove this first, and then let's have a div, and this will come up with a class name. Will be the background will be gray 200 minimum screen. It will be 12. This is exactly like what we had for all posts. So inside this, we will have another div with a class name of container. Let's close this first, and then let's move on with the other classes. We will have a shadow of large. MX will be auto. Background is green, and the opacity is 100. We will have this rounded and large. Okay, so now inside this div, we're going to have another div, and this comes with a class name. The class name will be relative. That's it. So again, inside this div, we will be having another div. And this comes with a class name that goes with absolute. Height is full. The width is full. We want flex. Then we want the items to be center, and justify center. Okay, I think, and we can have a padding of 8. Okay, that looks fair enough for this. All right. So now we're going to go inside this, and we're going to have another div with a class name. This will have BG will be white. The background opacity will be 75. This will be rounded, and padding will be 12. Okay. So inside this div, what we want to have is an h2 tag. And in case of the h2, let's have a class name with cursive. Text will be 3XL. For large screen, text is 6XL, and MB is 4. Okay, so inside that, what we want to have is post data dot title. Okay, so that's the heading basically. Okay, so after the heading, we're going to have another div with a class name of flex. Justify will be center. Text will be gray of 800. Okay, so inside this we will have our image, and in case of the image, this will be a self-closing tag. So now you're going to see that as we have already defined a function URL4 with the image URL builder from the Sanity client image URL. Now you can see that we are going to use this in the source. So let's do it. In case of the source, we are going to have URL4. This will be post data dot author image dot URL. So with this, we're going to fetch the image or any image within the image tag. So in this case, we want the author's image. So we're going to fetch the author's image with this. Okay, for this, let's have the class name. The class name width will be 10. Height will be 10. Rounded. Oh. Okay. Again, we can have an alt text, but let's ignore this for now. So with this, within this div, we will have another h4 tag. And inside that, we are going to have basically post data dot name. That means this name is the name that we are fetching for the author and the author's name. So this is what we are fetching here, post name. So in this h4, I think what we want to do is have the class name, and we want this to be cursive, flex, items, center, and we want this padding 2 PL2, text will be 2 XL. Okay, that's what we have. Then we can have, we will go down a little bit. So we're going to go after 1, 2, 3. After the third div, we are going to have image. Now in this case, this is the image with the self-closing tag at first. And in this case, this image, we're going to go with the class name first. And for the class name, we will have with full, we will have object hover rounded T. Okay. Then for the source, again, we are going to use the URL4. And in this case, we want the main image. Okay, so this is the main image. That means basically this is the image that we're looking for, and this will be displayed. Again, we don't want the alt text for now, and we can put in a little bit of styling. So for this, we can provide a height of 400 pixel. So we are just overriding the main style, the Tailwind style. We're overriding this. Okay. Now, as we have these things, we're going to pass another div, and here, what we want to do is this. We want to create another div, and here this div will have a class name with padding xs 16, large screen, padding x to be 48, padding y to be 12, the large, padding y to be 20, padding x to be 16, large padding x 48, py to be 12, lg py is 20. Then we have rows, lg rows to be xl, max with full. Okay, so inside this div, we're going to have the block content. So let's have block content here. This will also be a self-closing tag. So inside this, for the blocks, we are going to pass the post data dot body. This is one thing. For the project ID, we are going to pass sanity client dot client config dot project ID, and for the data set, we're going to pass sanity client dot client config dot data set. Basically, what I feel is that's basically it. So we have done the stylings as well, so we can save this and let's head back and see what we have. So we don't need to refresh, but just in case we're refreshing the first block and the second block, if we click on the first block, so there you go, this is the first block that we have. This is the content, this is my name, this is the title of the blog, and we have the background image. And then if we go back and go to the second blog, so you can see that the image has been provided as well. So basically this is maintaining something. The blog is maintaining the CSS, and with the blog content, this is organized properly. So basically that's the thing. We have so far seen what we can do with the dashboard of Sanity. We can see the React UI. That means how we configured the Sanity app with our React application, and then we could render the content from the Sanity dashboard to our React application. So basically that's it for the video. So let me bring myself back first. Yeah, there I am. So that's it for the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. So if you did, smash the thumbs up, do subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell icon. So I'm going to leave today and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.